on, guys? Nick Wood here, rocking the Alabama Crimson Tide tee because I like to watch winners. Little dig at anybody else that does not like Alabama. Actually more of a Nick Saban fan than I am an Alabama fan, but I just like watching people win day in and day out. It's inspiring, so rocking the tee. Guys, I want to talk about trading services. So good example would be, hey, you have a carpet cleaner and they don't want to pay you, but they're willing to do your carpets for free and you will give them leads, that kind of thing, right? I want to talk about this, my thoughts on it. I have done it. And I'm going to share whether I think you should do it or whether I think you shouldn't do it and kind of go from there. So I have done this. I did it with my epoxy garage floor. We ended up doing kind of a trade deal. And none of these were like full trades. It wasn't like, hey, I'll do your entire floor and you do this. It wasn't like that. It was kind of like a hybrid. So, hey, I'll knock X amount of dollars off of your floor. And then in exchange, I'll offer you less per month, kind of a deal. Okay. And I did that on that. I did it on my artificial grass. And have I done it on any other ones? I think it might just be those two. So I've done it on those two deals. Okay. Now, I'm going to tell you, I am not a fan. I do not like it, and I do not recommend it. I know that kind of goes against it because you're like, dude, you got free turf, and I didn't actually, okay? And I'm going to tell you why the turf one worked out really good, why the epoxy one, and kind of go from there. So I think a lot of times we go into these deals and we don't have standards. We don't say, hey, I am willing to accept this and only this, okay? We don't go in saying, I only will do flat fee. I'll only do a credit card on file. I'll only do X amount per month, and I'll only do a minimum contract. We go in it, hey, I want flat fee, but if I have to do a paid per lead, I'll do it. If I have to do commission, I'll do it. If I have to do a trade, I'll do it. If I have to do a rev shit, if you go into it not knowing what you want out of the deal, what you have to get, that's a better way to say it. If you go into a deal not knowing what you have to get, you're not going to get the best thing. You're going to get screwed, okay? And so what happened with me, let me talk the epoxy one, for example. With that deal, I actually was in the market for doing my garage floor anyway, so that's the only reason I even brought it up to this guy. The reason why I don't like it, because what we did is he gave me a discount, kind of gave me an upgraded floor, if you will. It was less money, and I charged him less for my leads, all that stuff, right? I don't like it because when money is not exchanged, okay, and if you haven't done this before, you can go do a deal and try it out, and you'll see this is the case. When money itself is not exchanged, people do not value it the same, okay, and that includes you. What I found myself doing is once I got the deal and I was like, hey, I'll give you X amount of months for free or the year for free before it's this price, or it's less, it's $500 instead of $1,000. You find yourself not wanting to offer as good of a service because it's like you've already been partially paid on that service. And I felt like that on my end. I was like, dude, I'm only getting $500 a month out of this guy. Shit, dude, I don't want to answer the phone. Like, obviously we did. We answered the phone. We gave him a good service, but like it was a burden, right? Because I'm not making as much. So that's number one. And I could tell with his service, I know he did a good job, but like we ended up having to have someone come out and do another clear coat because it wasn't done properly. I feel like he just breezed through it because in his head, he wasn't getting that cold hard cash. And so he just did whatever. So I'm not a fan. Now, the artificial grass one worked out really well because I actually didn't even plan on doing business with him. I actually was just doing artificial grass. I'd never even thought about the niche. I went out, this is what happened. I go out, we're looking at the yard, I'm telling him what I want, and I'm just dressed like freaking schlump, like this, just t-shirt and shorts, and it's like 11 in the morning. He's like trying to add everything up. He's like, you're young. I could tell that obviously you have money, you live in a nice house, and like this is going to cost you a lot of money. How are you able to afford it? Is basically what he was saying without saying it. He's like, what do you do? And I told him, I'm like, I actually just get leads for local business owners. Like, have you heard of Angie's List or Home Advisor? And so we started talking, and he's like, so could you get leads for artificial grass? I'm like, yeah, whatever. I don't know. Maybe. So I was going to do the turf no matter what. In fact, I did the turf. He gave me the price. I said yes. He started cranking it out before. What happened is once he was finished, then I proposed and said, hey, I owe you X amount of money. Why don't we, instead of me giving you all cash, why don't I do this much cash and a year of free leads or something like that? And so it worked on my end because he did a really good service. He knew he was going to get paid, or he thought he was going to get paid cash. Then the job was already done and we introduced the trade. But I do remember there was a couple months in there where I was like, dude, we're doing a lot of work for this guy and I've already been paid. And I had those same thoughts. So, my friends, at the end of the day, I am not a fan of these. Even if you're planning on doing artificial grass and he needs leads, I would recommend you say, you give me a quote for your price. I'll tell you what mine is. I'm going to pay you for the turf and you're going to pay me every month for the leads because I want to treat this like it's another client. I know it's silly and I know technically it can almost be the same if you do the amounts correctly, but there's something about it when you're not getting paid every month for your service, or on their end, when they know they're not getting cash, but instead they're getting service, that you don't do as good of a job. You just don't. There's not that investment. You just don't get that excitement because you don't see the money coming in and your revenue isn't as high and all these different things. So for me, I'm not a fan, and I highly recommend that you go into every deal, and this is the lesson learned, go into every deal. And since that, I have learned, I go in, I will only do flat fee. I will take a no thank you, I'm not doing business over a pay-per-lead deal or a commission deal or a trade deal, period. I don't want you to trade. I want your money, okay? I will go in with a minimum I have to get. And if you don't do the minimum, I ain't doing it. I will go in, I got to get a contract. And I got to get it or I'm not doing it. I go in and I know exactly what I want, what I'm willing to accept and what I'm not. And as soon as it crossed that line, I'm out. That is how I was able to build a successful 7-figure digital real estate agency, is knowing what the hell I wanted out of every single deal and knew that line of when we crossed it, it's a no. Made the mistake, did a couple trades, learned my lesson. I don't like them. And you can take this information, you can use it to your advantage, or you can say, let me try it out for myself. Either way, this is just my experience and what I have seen. When you do the homie hookup, you get the homie hookup prices, you get the homie service, which is, hey, bro, let me call you later. I'm dealing with a client. It's like, dog, I'm a client. If you're my buddy, I'm paying you full price because I want you to treat me like I'm an actual client. I'm out.